네, 모두 안녕하세요. FFBE Newsday 팟캐스트에 오신 걸 모두 다 환영합니다. Yeah, I probably freaked out at least like 5 people in this podcast because they thought they were on the wrong one.
Welcome to Newsday Wednesday.
Hey! I think because Barros is on vacation, we are forced to do it on like a 12-hour difference.
Still
Or
Tuesday here?
your scheduling issues.
So this
Yeah.
Tuesday Newsday or Wednesday Newsday is brought to you by Chizuru, the global exclusive winner.
Are you going to mention that we have a special guest here?
Is Flip a guest? He's part of the family.
Aw, thanks.
I think Flip was here before, right? He was in the podcast before, wasn't he?
Like a year ago or something, yeah.
Yeah. For people that don't know, Flip is the Medius guy from like years ago.
Yeah.
He's still voting for the Medius Envy. How's that going, by the way?
Whenever they did the Chizuru, like this thing that currently turned Chizuru, Midius wasn't an option, so that's all I'm saying, you know. You couldn't vote for Esther either, so I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
All the pieces are coming together.
They might have a plan.
So Chizuru, what's so great about Chizuru?
She's a samurai.
She has some kind of MP drain mechanic?
We don't know that from the preview. She has MP restore mechanic. There's been kind of speculation that she will have it just because the Clash of Wills news kind of hints that you need to drain MP for a mechanic of the fights. We're kind of like assuming she'll have some kind of siphon skill in her kit, but that is unconfirmed at the moment.
Makes sense, though.
What about the wind amps? I think she has amps, doesn't she?
I think we can only see an Imperil currently, but it's very likely that that's like her self-supported element, and she will do the usual damage dealer thing of amping herself.
Also, the primary weakness of this clash is wind, so it's likely.
Yeah, that was expected.
But she's also trans shift units, which we haven't seen since Kresnik for a global exclusive, I think.
Yeah, that is like one thing that might be a slight downside, but hopefully they kind of work with the design space that it gives to give some upsides as well.
I mean, more notably than Kresnik, as she is a DPS trans shifter, so.
Yeah, pretty much just depends on the shift if it's strong enough to justify the handicap. So hopefully.
I do love her card though. Her card's like Kaito's but better, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, sorry, Kaito, you were an amazing physical card for a non-premium. Let's just blow that away real quick.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good card. It's like definitely a good card, but whale problems. I already have cards that are just like better, so it's fine.
I mean, that's true, but it's one of those things where it's like not everyone has a Wilk or a Cog card, but here we are with this almost premium level card. Like this is as good as Tyvis, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Better, I'd say, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe Tyvis has more like LB damage or whatever on it, but in terms of the raw attack and flat attack, it matches Tyvis with less restrictions.
Tyvis doesn't have LB on it. His is percent attack, machine killer, and the flat attack.
Just the killer. So yeah, this is better than Tyvis's card, I'd say.
Also has a small added bonus that has guts on it.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
And you don't need EX3 to get it.
Yeah, that's the good thing.
I gotta say, I like the nostalgia in the image though, like the whole family sitting around.
Oh yeah, especially that bit. It's like the name of the card is a little misleading though. Spoilers.
You know what's a total missed opportunity here is for them to rerun her story event. Like they don't have to translate anything. It's literally already done. Just bring it back again, and they didn't. I really don't understand that.
Been nice, but well, we can't have nice things.
It's interesting for us to get her because she's such an old unit. She actually predates 6-Star Awakening.
Yep, she was effectively the first meta unit, really. At least in my mind.
She was the
Hey,
first.
hey, do not disrespect the Thunder meta.
She was
Yeah,
the
this
first
was before that.
4-star unit ever.
First 4-star base, I remember that 316 attack, perfect non-STMR build. But yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff is why I'm pulling, because Shizuru is basically the closest thing to nostalgia that I have in this game.
The other thing that's on this banner is not only her card, but the Hyo card, which is interesting.
One of the ones we saw the art of in the live stream.
But now we know what it does. Sort of.
And it's pretty decent.
Dude, this is like the second best card in the game behind Wilkes.
I mean,
this card is better than Esther's.
Is it though?
Is it? Doesn't Esther still have more attack?
Esther has slightly more attack power, but this is base HP, 100% HP, flat HP. It's got more killers on it, and it's got that amazing ability on the third thing. I will take this card over Esther's any day.
I mean, it could be an amazing ability on the end. We're not exactly sure about it yet.
The ability on the card is
Sinzar
also...
might be sure what it is, but...
The ability on the card's probably also like in... What was the chain that Hyo had? I forget. On his LD?
He was Extreme Nova, so...
Yeah, it could be Extreme Nova.
This card's really good. And it's not restricted for all the stats. The ability is, but all the stats are completely unrestricted. Like, for example, like the what's it called? The Knights of Grandshell card, that is like restricted to attack units, and you would be surprised how many units don't have the attack tag, like Tulian. I was gearing Tulian for my OTK team for Thursday to clear the levels in Clash. And it turns out Tulian is not an attacker. He can't use Knights of Grandshell.
He's a breaker, yeah.
It's so dumb. But this one is...
We have like a lot of good, like a fair few good FFBE flat attack cards now. But yeah, not too much for like the series one. So this is a nice budget option for that. Not budget, but it's a bit budget compared to like full-on premium cards like Cogs, but pretty nice. I would say it doesn't feel quite as crazy as Dazzling Demoness did, which is the sort of main thing where I was originally coming from, but it's still very good.
Oh yeah, for mages, that one is completely bonkers as well. Yeah, the card's really good.
Nice card.
I just like that it's Hyo because it's throwing something back to season 2. You know, if it feels like a forgotten unit, if we're not going to get, if we're never going to see Hyo again, at least we can get like some art of him. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, the good art is always nice.
The other thing we can talk about is probably her TMR and STMR. I think her TMR is kind of disappointing, like almost to a point where it's like kind of worthless on everybody else, isn't it?
It's okay.
Like even for herself, how useful is like the attack reduction resistance? Yeah, that's the only good thing on it, isn't it?
The attack break reduction is restricted to her, which takes away that niche. But
yeah, and you would probably never want to use this on herself because it's like a waste of a slot. And as far as the attack reduction, like because she's a trans shift anyway, if you just stick the decay amulet in her base form, that'll just be always up anyway. So you don't have to actually waste a slot on this. And I assume her shift form will be like the real form, so you don't have to waste a slot in the shift form. So yeah, this TMR is really unfortunate. It would have been amazing if the attack immunity was universal and you could put this kind of like the flag on your alternate form of your DPS units and give them permanent break immunity. That'd be so good, but it's not.
I think there will still be times where the 25% Omni killers plus a good amount of attack will be like an efficient slot to just cap things off. But it's niche. It's not particularly strong.
I could see a 25% all killer and a 60% attack being useful if it's like a serious wave, like wave after wave, and the enemy types keep changing. Sure, but
sure.
I mean, it's a TMR. They're usually nothing too special. It's kind of a shame that alongside like Frivias and Robertas, it doesn't have equip katana on it. That would have been nice, but
definitely.
But I mean, speaking of katanas, there's her STMR, which is pretty incredible.
I think there is a hypothetical 12 race boss that we haven't gotten yet. So there's that.
It's a good STMR. I just wish it wasn't a katana because we're just coming off Kaito, who brought us an STMR katana like a month ago. So it's a second one. This one's better. It's a better STMR, but again, it could have been something better. Definitely different, I think.
I mean, were you expecting it to not be a katana with her though?
Well, it could have been heavy armor, like the heavy armor she wears. That would have been perfectly fine. You know, really.
She wears heavy armor. That's news to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not particularly heavy, but
it looks like a kimono.
Some degree of armor.
No, it's that very classic samurai thing, like Gilgamesh.
Oh,
wears.
in a trance shift. Okay.
Barding or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that's light armor, but still.
I think
like having the 2 killers and the 100% TDH on the katana is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. And then the flat attack.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be like her preferred weapon always, but that's a given. They just kind of the flat attack will be distributed across various sources, and we can't see the total yet. So if it's just more heavily weighted to the STMR than other things, it doesn't really matter.
Are you guys all pulling for Shizuru?
I am.
Pretty much. Yeah, I pull for all the class units, even if they're not good, like Oliveira, and you see that pays off 6 months later, or like 9 months later.
Okay, you're jumping ahead here, Sinzar, but I think there is a pattern to Gumi's madness. But yeah, you're jumping ahead a bit. The other thing that just as a note, tends to be a habit with Gumi and their global exclusive units is that after a few really, really good units, we get sometimes mediocre / balanced units. Like Freyevia is probably the best example, but there's also Napi in between. I think it was in between Kresnik and Sky or something like that. No, it was before that. But anyways, Napi was chucked in there. Freyevia was chucked in there. So what I'm saying is that maybe it's this time where Chizuru could be the next quote-unquote disappointing / balanced unit, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, I hope not, but I don't care anyway. I still want it regardless.
I think that might be.
This is the nostalgia pull for me.
I think it's usually tied up to like quarterly earnings, like every 3 months. Like every 3 months, they're guaranteed to drop a very large unit that everybody wants to spend on. That way, they get those quarterly earnings.
It depends on when their fiscal month end is too, or fiscal quarters rather. So, yeah, Chizuru looks like. I think it's time we get a quote unquote balanced GLEX unit. So we'll see what happens. The other news that we got is Cow. As somebody mentioned here, spoiling, it's a wind week.
Other newses.
And also the big news, I think, this Cow is that we can get a second Celeste ring.
Yeah, instead of a new Celestite item this season, we're getting a second ring with some more level 10 options. But honestly, you might want 2 options from the first batch instead of any of the new ones.
Well, yeah, kind of interesting. You can go for... I was looking at the medium Celestite Signet of Will, and I think it's Evo damage that's on it, not something like GF extension or anything like that. I think it's Evo damage that's on it, so it might actually be good for summoners.
Yeah, correct.
On the Hermit's one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is.
But on the other hand, that requires using evokers in the current day, and that's kind of an issue.
And also, if you're like trying to be serious about evokers, you're definitely going to be using Garnet's accessory coming very soon. Not this; it's way better. The Neovision's base Garnet.
Is it still weird to me that the highest attack accessory is only 82? Like, am I the only one that finds that really weird after like a year and a half of Tifa STMRs? No?
Okay. Not really.
It's still a lot higher than the best magical version, which is 72.
No, that's true. It's just that accessories power creep seems slower than all the other. Like, weapon power creep is like straight up broken. But
yeah, I mean, weapons gone up a bunch, but like armor and stuff hasn't creeped up that much.
I guess you're right. The other thing about this...
Too soon, though. I've seen some 150 attack armors coming from JP.
Yeah. The other thing this Cow is that there's new sets of killers and Ellie resist with magic.
Yeah. So, to be honest, though, like, quite honestly, I have recently swapped my helm and chest to the rulers for the flat stats. which means I now have a lack of Magisters. So I'm just going to make a second Magister's ring. I'm just going to run two Magister's rings and get my chain cap that way.
I think that's what I'll do too.
Yeah, I feel like that's what most people are going to do.
Yeah, or if you don't want to pay, because I think the rulers recipes for those first two are like 2k each, which is pretty expensive. So as a slightly cheaper option, you might want a Magister's ring and an Emperor's ring, which is the 200 flat stats one.
That works.
And that's a slightly cheaper option, but maybe not quite as good.
It might also be worth looking at the Flag Bearer Celestite Signet of Will recipe for the morale fill, but that depends on how much morale it fills.
Yeah, depends on how much. I think it'd need to be quite a lot to be worth it over the other ones.
The other thing with this cow was that there's a new sets of units you can choose from the mixtures drops.
Mostly not that impressive, but Maeve is reasonably nice.
I think Maeve is the only one that most people would get. Otherwise, you could skip it and just get the killers, the killer and the resist gear.
Well, even after the killers, you can still get like 2 unit picks, but maybe I might get like a Frisia just for her STMR because I don't have any copies of her yet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and the mystery crystal. Don't forget. No, for that.
That's a new thing in there. We'll see how much that costs. But I get one other thing I noticed with this clash is the last one we got a new scoring parameter. They replaced number of turns taken with the final morale value, but that's been reverted back. So this isn't going to be like a really long, bulky clash like the last one. It's going to be something you can do in 10 turns pretty reasonably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for this one, we should have lots of viable units for damage. Like we've got the classics Esther and Wilk. We've got the upgraded Olivera that just got a massive power spike with
and Sky.
Finally being a weakness means both Olivera and Ibarra can potentially come out as options.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So is that going to lead us into the next talking point?
Yeah, let's just go straight into the IA.
Okay.
So this week we're getting intrinsic abilities for 4 units. The first one and the most disappointing one probably is going to be Elena, as always, as is tradition by this point.
I mean, it kind I guess it depends on how much mod boost she gets, which we don't currently know, but it's probably she's still a hybrid. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean they could quadruple her mods and maybe it would still be disappointing.
And the problem is, I actually tried building her in the base form and forcing double hand, and it is extremely hard to do. Extremely hard to do because you got to max true double hand attack and magic. You got to give her the chain cap up because she has none naturally because it's all tied to dual wielding, and it's nearly impossible.
So you get a Starlight Alina, probably still going to be quite sad.
Mm-hmm.
But the next one's kind of interesting. That Yoshikiri gets a 300% LB damage buff, 400% stat buffs on his. It's a cooldown ability too.
Yeah, it gets a new cooldown. He gets equipable. I'm a bit iffy on it because they're all single target buffs, not AoE.
I just have to say I love the name of it.
BA start.
Because if you think about how you select a unit, you swipe left for items, so it's left, right, down, up, whatever, and then BA start.
Yeah. The other thing about this ability, other than that fact that it's single target, it takes up a literal slot for an ability. I hate doing that. I don't know why.
I mean, it doesn't really matter on a support.
Yeah.
But I still hate it. When I have to use Tullian's STM or Tullian's TMR. Well, anyways, Tullian's ability, it feels bad. I know it doesn't really matter, but it still feels bad
because you can't triple cast it or something like that.
Yeah, basically.
Well, no, they're included in for Tullian using his own TMR. That granted ability is part of his multicast, and I think Yoshikiri's will be the same.
Hopefully.
The next one... I don't think that one new ability massively improves Yoshikiri that much.
But the one that everyone's excited about is Sky, because there's a select few of us that really, really like Sky, and she got an unnecessary buff.
Months and months ago, I joked about now all Sky needs is 2k flat attack, and it finally happened.
But she got more than 2k flat attack. She literally got 80% attack and like 250 killers, 150 killers. Oh, we don't even know the mod boost.
Like the 80% basically makes up for it taking a slot, and then all of the extra killers and stuff.
4 killers.
I think she already has some Dragon Undead and kind of capped those very easily anyway, but this just makes it completely automatic. And then she's got some big new ones for the latest Clash.
And the funniest thing is, without even knowing the modifier boost, whether they boost her jump or not, even if they don't apply to her jump, just the 2000 attack makes her the #1 highest burster in Dark Visions, including giving Esther a 100% amp from Sylvie that you couldn't give to Skye. Skye still bypasses her burst damage in Dark Visions.
For physical dealers, she still loses out to certain magic dealers, but
on physical stages, yeah.
Is that including any future jump gear or just
no?
The stuff
That
we
is
have
that
right
is
now?
just Ricard and this intrinsic. So once we get Kamari and Riku's gear on top, like oh my.
Rush. But I mean, it is windlocked, thankfully, but it's pretty crazy because with her double dipping on all the jump boost mods, it kind of spirals out of control very fast. And
so the theory that Skye was a mistake. The theory that the Skye was a mistake is probably a really big fact. It's like there's a lot of
what? Let's double down.
I like that they're just rolling with the mistake.
Yeah, I love it.
I have a EX3, so I'm fine with it.
See, I kind of regret. I only have an EX2 of Skye, so it's like, ugh.
I put like 5 extra copies after EX3 at this point.
I gotta say, I wasn't expecting them to drop 4 of these intrinsic abilities, though.
Yeah, I thought this would be like 2 months worth.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, when I first put IAs, I thought they just forget about it a month later.
Right.
I think it's kind of replacing crowns, so I don't think they'll forget about it. But
okay, but I just hope that they
could lower.
Someone said that later they might be available in some kind of shop or something.
The theory was that we'll have to exchange crowns for it. No, we'll have to exchange crowns for it or something like that.
Yeah.
They're crafted with crowns, they said on the.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But these are free. But the 4 that we get this week are free, which is great.
Yeah. If you're there for like when they do the initial release of each batch, it seems you get them free.
But to go in and get them in post,
yeah, you have to craft them. Craftable.
They just get added to your inventory, right? You don't have to buy it anywhere.
They're just directly in the mailbox.
No, you just have to remember what the name of them are.
Yeah, because like it's a bit of it's not like TMRs where like it's at the top and pinned for you. Yeah. It's kind of annoying.
But that's why what I did is like the moment they released, even if I wasn't really going to use say like Mazurka and Louise much, I just went and equipped them and favorited it, so it's like they'll just be there automatically.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Them in future.
And the last one is Pete Crescendo, Sinzar's favorite. It got his PP pretty hard.
I mean, Oliveira is legit strong at this point. He was already strong with just like the variance changes and all that. And now that he's on the Dazzling card, but now that he's got this on top, he becomes basically the strongest mage in the game. Almost tied. Angela on turn 12 slightly out damages him, but he's like right behind Angela for Dark Vision's damage. And then in Clash of Wills, again, insane damage. So yeah, Oliveira real strong.
Get some pretty wild stats now. Like I think he can get up to like 15k mana.
16.5 in like a best in slot build.
There you go. And that becomes like, I think it uses 1.7 times 1.75 times that value as the actual magic stat.
Yes, which is like equivalent to 28,000 magic approximately.
That's not ridiculous at all. Even if it is only an 87 mod.
Mm-hmm.
God, we would be absolutely trembling if Sylvie's LB affected his MP mods.
But the funny thing is, it does affect his base form 4 times, and that's why he's so insane in Clash.
Yeah, that it buffs that up really nicely. It's a good like 20-25% mob boost overall. And yeah, so he has a very good Clash mod and DV mod now, as long as you can use Dark.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pretty crazy batch, or at least half of the batch is pretty crazy.
And it is possible that Elena's, gets like a 1000x modifier to her skills. Probably not, but
Possible.
it could.
And also, what is that throwing in weapon and peril for Yoshikiri?
That I wouldn't get too excited about because we are very, very soon to get Premium Titus, who brings a 45% throwing in peril, and I seriously doubt Yoshikiri is going to bring 45, so it won't be.
For now, they still seem to have been sticking to like 30, 35, so that's probably what I'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're going to start seeing some 40 and 45s from JP stuff. Like, I think Crown Zidane has 45 dagger as well.
That's actually free. The Dagger and Peril is just baseline upgrade.
Oh, okay. It's just a.
I mean, if they threw 45 at us on a global, it wouldn't be the first time they outshined a JP before it came over.
Fair enough. But on the other hand, it's Yoshikiri.
True.
We'll see.
And then I guess the other thing we got is more kind of trial content, which I feel like we've been swimming in lately, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
They're adding the permanent Morgana fight to Chamber of Vengeful. And we can see that we get some pretty nice gear from that as well.
Is it? I don't know.
Well,
it's like
I appreciate its existence, mostly for wiki builds.
Yeah, it's good budget gear, but I feel like this rod should have been stronger considering like Nicole's rods exist, etc.
Yeah, I mean, depends how hard it is to get, but yeah, it's a nice two-handed magic rod with some decent extra stats. It's available free.
I feel like they think that. I feel like they think that items that come from trials need to be a little bit weaker than items that come from units.
Sometimes, but then again, we get like things like the Erinys ring, which is still one of the best items in the game. So
utility stuff's a little different, but because that's not really like a raw power thing.
Yeah, that's true. So what do you think the tuning of this girl is going to be? Is she going to be I'm pretty sure that they're not going to just copy paste her exactly as she was from Clash. That's a year out of date, but she's got to be buffed. How much do you think she's going to be buffed?
I'm expecting reasonably bulky, but not like mega threatening damage wise, maybe. And then the main thing I'm wondering, because like her stats will probably be quite a lot higher than the original. One thing I'm wondering whether they buff is the morale gain on some of her skills, because compared to current Clash stuff, she really does not gain very much morale against the team. So with our current morale generator, it would be very easy to just stay at 200.
Well, whenever she was released, she was the first, so we didn't have any morale generators, really.
Yeah, all we had was, like, NVA, Alina, and Ling.
And the items that we had figured out, like Galbana Lilies.
Oh, yeah.
But then again...
I expect her AI to be the same or very similar.
Mm-hmm.
See, the catch, too, is... Here's the thing I'm struggling with a little bit, is... They want you to clear her with 50 different units, and if we take away like Chow, Kresnik, and like Ling, like where's the morale coming from on the party? So after 3 clears, you've like just dried up your good morale sources, unless you just keep recycling them, which I don't want to have to do.
But unfortunately, I think I've mentioned the way before, like the way these bosses are designed really does just make that the much easier way to go. Where you just have 4 or 5 unit clear that works, and then
as somebody just mentioned in chat, we're not trying to cap damage, we're just trying to get them dead. So do we need them to be maxed out on morale?
That's true. That is true. You're right.
What I wonder is, will we see any of the EX modifiers in play, like here? Like maybe her resists will be with the mods on, or
what would be the purpose?
Yeah, I would assume that the default is going to be all modifiers on. So we're going to be getting the rank 1 version of Morgana in the chamber. I would assume.
Because obviously it makes no sense for them to be optional if there's no missions around it. But yeah, they might be all kind of on by default.
Yeah. It'd be cool to see.
And again, I'm looking at her old like Clash page, and I can't even find anything on the modifiers. Did she have them, or was it just like EX levels became score?
Oh no, she had them. Yeah, she had them. They were, I don't remember where they were, but they were like if you really wanted to see, you could look at one of my old videos.
Yeah.
But I don't remember them. But it was very generic stuff. It was like just more HP, more defense, etc. It wasn't anything like AI related. It was just bulk.
I guess
she was just the
page
first.
just didn't include them. But yeah, should be interesting. Something to chip away at. Decent free gear that I can finally have mages actually build with a two-handed rod when doing wiki.
What I'm kind of excited about with this is sort of a permanent way for like newer players to be able to get like Clash of Wills items as a farmable. Like you could tell them like go there, farm this out, like kill her, grab your first Clash of Wills gear.
Actually, like, do we know whether like does it give any Xenostone?
It does. Yeah.
it's
If you
pictured.
look in the final
That's
bullet
good.
point, you're getting Xenostones, mastery crowns, mystery crystals, etc. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, I see. That's nice. Yeah, this is definitely a good thing to like train people up on, I guess.
And they're
I
asking for the community
wonder-
clear as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, 12,000 shouldn't be that hard for a community. I feel like there's at least like 5-10K pretty active late game people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm probably going to clear it at least 20 times myself, you know.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering, by unique clears, does it mean unique as in different players, or just like each clear a player does counts as another unique clear as long as it's a different team? I'm not sure.
Is that saying if there's 12,000 unique clears that we get 1,000 Xenostone?
Lapis.
Lapis.
Yeah, but it's up to 3,000. You get all of like the previous ones as well.
It's all cumulative.
Yeah, so up to 3K Lapis if everyone
I see.
manages that. Which is another nice little bonus, I guess. One thing I am wondering is, is this going to be a once a month thing, like alongside the new clashes, kind of mirroring their releases in year one, or is it going to be more frequent than that and kind of catch up?
Or is it going to be slower?
Oh dear. Don't speak that into existence.
Hopefully they bring more.
Yeah. I'm expecting one per month, really. For now, till they get tired of it, like they did the original Chamber of Vengeance. But then again, this doesn't require nearly as much new design work if they're keeping all the old AIs.
No, now that they've sort of made this one, they know the port over process, so they can copy paste it a little easier, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully. Just need like a few new pieces of equipment and some stat balancing.
Should be fun.
Anyway,
I feel though that if they bring over like one a month like that, and they're giving away the Xenostone shards and that, then you could be able to get all recipes fairly easily.
Eventually, I wonder if new ones will start being like more expensive or something. Or maybe it'll just be like Dark Vision's weapons, where like gradually they've just become more and more easy to have an excess of dark matter.
That's kind of the better way to do it. Otherwise, like older players could literally never catch up.
Yeah, they'd always be on catch up. So yeah, I like that permanent catch up method of Xenostone. And it'll give like us who have been keeping up more freedom to actually swap around our existing Clash gear into its different forms. Because currently it's been like a little bit expensive to do that.
Yeah, because like you said, the ruler's gear is really expensive. I bought those 2 recipes. That was 4,000 Xenostone. That was like 2 entire months worth of clashes at rank 1 to afford that. So it's pretty expensive. And I guess the last thing for the week is the bait banner for premiums.
That's just the usual.
Well, it's a little better than usual. It's like a higher value, but it is still an off banner, bait banner.
random envies are just bait now, and have
much.
been for quite a while.
I actually wanted to touch base because we're getting new story this week. But I noticed that it said that they're not giving us the recipes and the heroic quests that were intended for the story update. We'll be getting those instead next month.
Yeah, that's disappointing because
awkward.
I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter because if we're going to speak plainly, the gear is worthless anyway. But it's still fun to play with. It's just not good.
Yeah, I wonder why it's delayed slightly. If it's like a bug thing, or they're just, I don't know, an attention thing, or it's weird.
I don't know. Because of this, they're going to have to literally like take it out of the EX battles and then add it to a different. This seems like it's more work to do it this way. It's so weird. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe one of the like abilities attached to one of them is bugged or something right now.
Could be.
Yeah. I also noticed one thing we never mentioned. There was a third card this week, a free one for Axstar, who they skipped back when he got his crowns and is still even more worthless now than it was then.
Yep. Super old, outdated, big sad face.
At least for the collectors, we're getting it, I guess.
Yeah, it exists.
And we get more NV Fragment Select tickets this week.
Yeah, we the start of the free ones of those if you didn't buy the bundle previously.
And those include premiums, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, my first two are going towards the last 20 shards I need to EX3 Esther for this clash, which will be nice.
I guess I will dump all of mine on Dark Rain for the card.
Yes, I think we get 5 of those, so 50 shards.
But I think that's basically it for the week.
Yeah.
Well, we get the return of the friend point summon.
Yeah. All in all its glory.
Not quite as much of a troll now that we know next month we're getting the permanent dungeon, so we can top off the weird numbers, but still pretty low value.
Yeah, very much.
If it was permanent, you know?
It's like, oh, you might save 1 or 2 days on a couple of decent units. But
well,
yeah,
Chizuru's in the pool, so is Wilk, you know, so it's nice.
The thing that I am kind of weirdly annoyed about with this one is that they are daily giving enough friend points to fully do the summon, so it's not useful for using up any backlogged friend points. And I need to start restocking on the small crests, but I have like 400 days of unclaimed friend points.
Maybe they'll start doing it more like JP, because JP runs these friend point things pretty often. Not always for fragments; they do it for various other stuff too. Like I am always out of friend points on the JP server, so I wish Global would start doing that. They do things like you can summon stat pots, or sometimes the fragment summons, or you can summon like enhancement crystals and all. So nothing like meta tier, but they just give you something to use them on.
Nice to have a sync for them.
Exactly. So I wish Global would do that more often.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's us pretty much ready to wrap up now.
There's the item this week from Item Worlds, but that's it. That's the last thing I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really pretty decent to
it's all right. It's weird when like they're always themed to kind of work for the like the banner unit, but when the banner unit has their own much better version as like their STMR, it feels a bit pointless.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pretty much.
And
Doesn't Nareen's STMR also give Bug Killer, I think?
Yeah, it might, or Plant.
One of them.
Yeah. I think hers is actually like counts as a great sword, though. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh well.
And I noticed one of the items that you can get out of Item World is actually Clanmaster's Headband, which allows equipped katana.
I saw that too. That was a nice bit of flavor because that's Jiraiya's TMR, who is her husband.
So there's your equipped katana for everybody that wanted that.
A terrible option, but it does exist.
Yeah. It's annoying that there's no materia option for that still.
There is. It's limited, but twin sword.
Oh, right. I found recently when doing Asura stuff that there is no equip mace, which
Nope.
I weirdly wanted because I was like, oh, Thorned Mace plus is 100% poison weapon. That'd be nice to equip. Oh, I can't.
There's a lot of killers that we just don't have any of. I mean, not killers, equips. Yeah.
There's only a few missing, I think. Like Mace is one I just mentioned, and then
Throwing.
throwing is the obvious one because they had to keep fixed dice in check for a while.
Hammers too.
Yeah. But most of them have one.
Equip whip.
It exists.
Okay.
Multiple sources because AI Katie as well.
Yeah, some of them have weird names though, from what I remember. Like Fist was, or maybe it's changed, but
They
like
changed
Fist
that.
was equip grappling weapon for a while or something. Like,
Yeah.
I think they made them more consistent at one point. Anyway, we're very much just kind of trailing off at this point.
All right. Well, see you next time.
Yeah. See you for our first global data mine without Sicidus.
Aren't you actually doing it now, Dream? I think I remember.
I've joined up into the group to kind of just like poke my head and maybe give a few tips, but I'm not kind of primarily doing it. I don't really have the time. But I'm kind of keeping an eye on Salient and Svitkona who are actually doing it.
Hopefully, they can do it during maintenance so that
Yeah.
on server up, I can decide if I'm going for the pull or not. Probably will regardless, but it'd be nice to go in with my eyes open.
Yeah, we will see. Anyway, see you next time.
Later.
Later.
Bye.